On today's show, the Battle of Ontario is being dragged back to Ottawa for a Game 6. We've got our first team eliminated and also moving on, and another one tonight, an elimination game in Washington between the Habs and the Capitals.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome inside this Wednesday, April 30th edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just download the FanDuel app to get started. I'm Ross Levitan. You can find me over at Locked On Senators alongside Mike DiStefano, and we are giving new reason to a Battle of Ontario edition of the Locked On NHL podcast. You can find us on our channels day in and day out, but this is going to be a very fun show, Mikey, wouldn't you say?
It's kind of comical how last week when your boys were down 2-0, you mysteriously couldn't find time to join us. We had to get Gil to come on the show to fill in for you, Ross. And all of a sudden, the Senators start winning games, and you're willing to come back on the show and talk. I find it very, very fishy, my friend.
Yeah, very fishy. Well, if people want to see my misery, just tune into our Game 3 postcast. I was booing the boys. I was not in a good place, but yeah, that's the cost of having a 5-month-old. My schedule is getting busier and busier by the day, but I had to make some time to chat with you today because it was a 4-0 win on the road in Toronto. The Scotiabank Library was closed with 4 minutes left. So many empty seats.
It was loud in the building last. You didn't hear those boos?
Yeah, it wasn't.
You didn't hear the boos? It got loud. Those boos. What are you talking about?
If you look at the train to Linus Ullmark giving head taps after the game, it looks like a preseason crowd with all the empty seats.
Oh yeah, no, the Leafs faithful left the second that Cousins buried that shorty. That was it. The you knew that the game was over at that point. And hey, stick taps to the Sens, man. You know, I credit to them. They were dead in the water. The Leafs had them on the ropes, and now they're right back in this thing. It's 3-2 going back up north to Ottawa. They had a home game. You got Brady Tkachuk saying, "We'll be back here. We'll be back here." His brother did the same thing in Florida a couple of years ago, and they did come back when they played Boston, and they did come back and they won that game. So
they won the series too.
They won the series. Yeah, that's right. They did. They came back and they won that game 7 and won the series and went on to the Stanley Cup final. I don't see the same fate happening here for the Ottawa Senators. Bit of a different vibe, different team. But this is
the Stanley Cup. If they beat the Leafs, they could get swept next round, and then the season is a huge success.
I mean, yeah, probably. Yeah, of course. I mean, this is a team that's just been fighting for 7-8 years just to make the damn playoffs. You beat the Leafs in a Battle of Ontario for the first time ever. Yeah, they probably would hang a banner for that up in Ottawa. There has been a lot to celebrate there. They might hang a banner for that one.
Dude, the two best players on the Ottawa Senators are 23 and 22 years old, and both signed for 7 more seasons after this one.
I got to tell you though, Ross, like after watching last night and you know, like you've been watching the Leafs too. Like you lived in Toronto, you worked TSN, you worked at 1050, you were the Leafs game night producer. You're well aware of the demons of the past when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And some of those habits really started to creep back into their game last night. And those whispers that were there after losing game 4, they're getting louder and louder and louder now after losing game 5. Let me tell you, those demons are right in front of the faces of those Maple Leafs players. And there was no one more disappointing to me in last night's hockey game than, well, actually, there was 2 guys. But Auston Matthews, I thought, did not play well at all. I get it. He's battling through an injury, but everyone is at this point in the year. But he looked awful last night, and so did William Nylander. Just no jam from those two. Everything was so passive. They weren't direct at all. Obviously, the giveaway for the shorthanded goal there by Matthews, awful decision-making. It says he didn't see the player. I didn't see him there. Okay, whatever. yeah, like last night was just not a good game overall. The power play was horrendous. They couldn't get anything going there. You know, their power play in closeout games since 2018, 0-30.
Yeah,
0-30.
with 2 shorthanded goals against, including
Yeah.
last night.
The last two games, you have a chance to go through to the next round, right? Chance to advance, and your power play is a -2 in those games. That's pathetic, simply pathetic. And this has been a common theme for this Maple Leafs team and this Maple Leafs core. They're now 1 for 13 in closeout games. They've had 13 opportunities to win a series, Ross. 13 opportunities to win a series in the Matthews, Marner, Nylander era. Only one time have they actually got it done. Only once. And last night was another failed opportunity, just like it was on Saturday. Ross, if they can't get it done on Thursday, Saturday night is going to be an absolute mess. It's going to be a mess. I hate to say this, but you know it's true because it always happens this way. It's Leafs in 6 or Sens in 7.
Sens have never won a game 7 in franchise history, by the way. They're 0-7.
Yeah, this current Leafs core has never won a game 7 either. They're 0-5, 0-6 in game 7. So, okay. I mean, someone's making history. Someone's making history this year, potentially.
In games, and I'm not getting ahead of myself. The Leafs have been a great road team. They've already stolen one in Ottawa. It's not a sure thing. But if it does go back for game 7, are they giving out rally towels or barf bags?
Barf bags.
Yeah. Because you could feel the tension. Right when Shabbat scored in the second period, you could literally feel the tension on TV.
Oh, yeah. No, you could, because it just, everyone's like, oh, no, this can't be happening right now. And Ullmark played well. Like, there was a couple of chances that they had, but the problem is, and I said this in the Locked On Leafs podcast, who would you say was the best line for the Maple Leafs last night? Which line?
Probably Tavares. I felt like Tavares individually had a good game.
Individually, yes, but you didn't really see anything from, Domi went up there, didn't play all that well. Pontus Holmberg was kind of meh. Nylander was a passenger for majority of the night, I felt. So I wouldn't say the line played well. Tavares.
The Lawton line?
The Lawton line. Lawton, Lorenz, and Calle Yarncroc was your best line last night.
Except Lorenz thought he was Marner going in on that 2-on-0.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I mean,
he beat the puck.
He beat Ullmark. Like, he had Ullmark down.
Well, he had himself beat too.
Well, apparently, like that. But that was the best, most effective line on both ends of the ice. But the problem, Ross, is when your fourth line is your best line, that's usually not a good sign.
It's good for your fourth line. But I don't think they're the best line both ends of the eye. I think Tim Stützle's line had a great game.
On the Leafs. On the Leafs.
You know that Tim Stützle, by the way, who gets soft allegations all the time, is 4th in the NHL in hits this postseason while being a point per game and being 56% in the dot.
Great for Timmy Stu.
It's sick for Timmy Stu. Yeah. 3-point night. Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk became the first Senators in team history to have 3-point games when facing elimination. So I know 2 of them were on empty nets, but you got to be out there defending a lead to have that happen. I was still nervous when it was 2-0 with 5 minutes left, though, because the Leafs had ozone time, and I felt like if they got 1, they were going to get 2.
Well, when Ridley Gregg took that penalty last night, I thought for sure the Leafs were going to capitalize.
That was on a silver platter. That was even more of a platter than the 4-minute high stick in game 4. That was the dumbest penalty I've ever seen.
The guy thought he was like, literally, it's like Oklahoma drill, taking down the running back. Like, he legitimately loses his stick and then just grabs him and brings him to the ground, tackles him.
Marner had already lost the zone and lost possession. Like, the danger was done.
Had nothing. It made no sense what the hell Ridley Gregg did. And instead of the Leafs making him pay for that mistake, they give him an absolute gift. And they give him a 2-on-1 shorthanded, and Cousins buries the insurance marker.
Cousins was only out there on a kill because Ridley Gregg was in the box. He doesn't kill penalties for the set. He's got 30 seconds of shorthanded time on ice this series.
Well, good call by Travis Green to feel something, I guess.
Yeah. I think Travis Green's coached this series really well. On the road, he's gotten that Pinto line out against Matthews as much as you possibly can on the road. I think he's shown a lot this series. A lot of people were really questioning the decision to bring him in last summer. I think he's coached himself a nice series, and people were clowning on him after game 3. You're down 3-0, and he's saying he's liking the game. 2 go to overtime, you lose both. Game 4 goes to overtime, you find a way to win. This series has been a lot better than I think people would have thought after the first 3.
It's been this close, but like even the first 3 games, like it has been this close. He's not wrong. Like 3 games go to overtime. You're 1 bounce away from, this being 3-1 for the Senators, realistically, right? Like game 1, obviously Toronto completely, took that game and ran with it with the power play success that they had. But game 2, 3, 4, like Ottawa could have won those games, easily could have won those games. Ottawa outshot Toronto in those 2 games that they lost.
I think the team that's been outshot has won every game.
Yeah, funny enough, somehow that's how it's working. That's pretty much what's been going on right now, and it's bizarre world. But it's been a decent series. We've talked about this a bit on Locked On Leafs, and I guess we finally got one last night, kind of, sort of, in the last 30 seconds. But I am surprised that it has not been nearly as aggressive as I thought it'd be. Like, I don't even want to call that fight last night an actual fight because it was more like a wrestling match. But like, we haven't seen a fight yet in this series. That floors me. Absolutely floors me.
Brady was giving it to Domi a little bit in the second period by the net, but like, no fights really, and I think that's kind of par for the course this postseason. Outside of the Battle of Florida, and we can touch on that a little later in the show. Like, there's been physicality this playoffs, but there hasn't been as much hate. Yeah, except for in Florida. In Florida, it's been complete gong show.
Which, again, like, it's going, like, we always talked about how important it was going to be. Like, whichever team makes it out of this series, Toronto, Ottawa, like, they are killing each other over in that Battle of Florida. Like, you're going to get a beaten, bruised team in the second round, a chance to really take advantage there, and potentially, a little bit of an easier path to an Eastern Conference final if you can, take advantage of that game or that path. But Toronto's got to close it out, and in your case, up in Ottawa, they got to stay alive and try and do something that only 4 teams have ever done. The reverse sweep. Only 4 times has a team gone down 0-3 and made their way all the way through, won 4 straight, and pulled off the reverse sweep. God, Toronto cannot afford to be that 5th team. I even want to think of what would happen in this city if that were to occur.
Well, I've actually got a stat about that. I'll save that for next. We'll talk about the Hurricanes being the first team to move on. And can Montreal stay alive? You're listening to Locked On NHL, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The Stanley Cup playoffs are on, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if that bet wins. It makes it so easy. The props, Brady Tkachuk hitting the over on his shots on goal with an empty netter. Every moment matters with FanDuel, and you can get in on the action. Before last night's game, Senators were plus 900 to win the series. And now they're plus 300. So always look at FanDuel and check out all the great lines that are happening, from assists, power play points. FanDuel's got it all. Plus, after the games are on, you can combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. That's over at FanDuel. Welcome back, Locked On NHL. Shout out to the everydayers out here making us your first listen. If you haven't checked out Locked On NHL Game Night, you can do that. We got local experts on the biggest stories 7 days a week. We got it all here because the Stanley Cup playoffs, there are no days off. So make sure you're liking, subscribing everywhere you get your podcast. It's been an incredible first round so far. We'll get to the first team that's advanced, but Mike, you mentioned 4 teams have come back from down 3-0. The last time it happened was 2014, the LA Kings coming back against the San Jose Sharks. That was in the first round. The time before that was the Philadelphia Flyers in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Bruins. You know who was on that Philadelphia Flyers team? A man by the name of Claude Giroux, who was in the lineup last night for the Ottawa Senators. And that's not all. After going down 3-0, the Flyers got scored on late in Game 4 and won in overtime. Take a guess what the score was in Game 5 on the road.
Gonna guess 4-0.
It was a 4-0 shutout win. So if Game 6 is a 2-1 win for the Senators, there might be some extra demons in the barn on Saturday night. That's all I'm saying.
We're living in a parallel universe. That's what it is. Yeah. What do they say? The simulation's broken? Is that what they say?
Yeah, that is what they say. Look, we had a little fun on Locked On Senators, Mikey. The title of today's show is the Ottawa Senators core comes up clutch. Thomas Chabot scores, Brady Tkachuk scores, Tim Stützle scores. You can even throw back to the overtime winner, Jake Sanderson, in Game 4. It's the Leafs core where all the pressure's on them for Game 6 in Ottawa. For more on that game and the series, go check out Locked On Leafs, Locked On Senators, because we got lots of great playoff action. Before the Hurricanes, though, we mentioned the Battle of Florida. Aaron Ekblad suspended 2 games. What'd you think of the hit and the result of it?
I mean, that series has just been so brutal, so brutal. And that's what, the second suspension we've had so far in the series? Because Hagel had one, and now you're looking at Aaron Ekblad. I mean, obviously, 2 games, I thought maybe a game, but I suppose we're going to get 2 games for this one. Yeah, it's a penalty for me. That's completely targeting the head, elbow up, and he follows through with the check high, unnecessary. It's a lot of force. It's the playoffs, so I thought he would only get a game, but I'll 2 games. Sure, I can reason with it, I suppose.
Does Aaron Ekblad count as a repeat offender because he got suspended for PEDs?
No, I think it has to be the same thing.
Violence?
Yeah, definitely not. But the guy comes in for a game or 2, and then it's okay, you can sit for another couple.
And what a way that Game 4 ended, right? The Panthers think that maybe it's going to be a tied series. And with 4 minutes left, less than 4 minutes left, it goes from down 2-1 to a 4-2 win.
Well, it was insane. I remember, I was literally just kind of keeping track of the game, on my phone, keeping track what was going on. And yeah, you see the Bolts score a couple quick ones. Then all of a sudden you check back and the Panthers won. It's what the hell just happened here? What just happened? And had to go back and watch the highlights to figure it out. And I'm just God, this Florida team, they just know how to flip a switch. They really, really know how to flip a switch. Because they weren't playing that well going into the playoffs.
Not at all.
Playing awful. And they had injuries. I get it. There was no Bennett, no Tkachuk, no Ekblad. But they've all come back and they're all contributing, and they're somehow able to get up and get ready to go and play. And they have been. And Florida, that's a dangerous team, a very dangerous team. But yeah, it looks obviously like Florida is certainly gonna end up going through and meeting whoever, Toronto or Ottawa, in the next round. But that's been a hell of a vicious series, that's for sure.
Where are you at with the Carolina Hurricanes? First team to advance. They take care of the New Jersey Devils in 5 games. Unfortunately for New Jersey, they're undermanned. No Jack Hughes in particular. Huge problem for them. Give credit to the Hurricanes suffocating defensively, especially in those first 2 games where they held the Devils to a goal in each game. Devils' only win happens in double overtime in Game 3. But then they just fell apart, right? You lose. Double overtime in Game 5 as well. I give a lot of credit to New Jersey for hanging in as well as they did. I think Jacob Markstrom had himself a great series overall. But is this Carolina Hurricanes that just took advantage of an undermanned team, or do you think that they're for real?
Well, Carolina's always great in the first round. Always. They're always a team that's going to win at least a round, right? That's what they've proven to be able to do. It's interesting because I felt for a couple years that, the Canes, they got a good team and they are for real. But then I thought this offseason they lost a lot. And I had just, I don't know, like I thought they were going to take a step back this year and then they haven't. So credit to them. They got some young kids like Jackson Blake has played really well, son of Jason Blake. He's been good since coming up. Logan Stankoven has 3 goals in the series. I want to say like he's been pretty solid for them, filling in, providing some offense. And then obviously you've got the cast of characters that are always there. And how about Andrei Svechnikov coming alive? 5 goals in the series, had a hat trick in the last game. That's a big development. Getting Svechnikov back to being one of the best snipers in hockey would be a massive boost for this Carolina Hurricanes team. Rob Brindamore has always coached them very well. They're an extremely structured group. So defensively, you know that they're not going to give up a whole lot. The goalies can always make saves. Kochekhov's pretty solid. And it's going to come down to whether or not they can score goals. That's what it's always come down to for this team. And if they have that killer instinct, that impact player that can get it done in those tight, close games. Well, they've proven in a couple overtimes that they have dudes who can step up, but it was against New Jersey and a very battered and beaten New Jersey squad that's missing a lot of their firepower. Like if it may be completely different story if they would have had Jack Hughes in this series. Luke Hughes missed games. Like it's a very injured team. So I wouldn't look at them and be like, wow, cup contenders. They make quick work of the Devils, cup contenders. No, but they're a good team. They're a good team. And it wouldn't shock me if they made a run. Wouldn't shock me at all. The East is wide open this year. It's a bit of a soft path to get to the conference final, I think, on that side of the board at least. Like Washington doesn't necessarily scare me a whole lot if I'm Carolina. I'd feel pretty confident going up against the Capitals in the next round. And then next thing you know, you're sitting there in the third round and you're one series away from going to a cup final. So do I believe that they're cup finalists, champions? I don't know. But you got to be happy with the performances from some of their players.
Svechnikov reminded me of the first round series last year for the Colorado Avalanche against Winnipeg, where Val Nichushkin had 5 goals and an assist. Like very similar vibe, where everything that was coming off that guy's stick was finding dangerous opportunities. 22 shots on goal for Svechnikov in 5 games, albeit 2 double overtimes. I get it. But Svechnikov's having himself a heck of a series, and Sebastian Aho leading the way with 8 points for Carolina. They will meet the winner of Washington-Montreal. Game 5 of that series goes tonight from DC. We'll preview that game. Take a look around the NHL in the games tonight. I'll be boots on the ground for one of them. That's next. You're listening to Locked On NHL, your team every day. Welcome back. Locked On NHL, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Shout out to the everydayers out there that vent and vibe with us through the Stanley Cup playoffs, the roller coaster that is. Mikey, I've been keeping my heart rate monitor on for the Senators-Leafs series. And for game 4, the overtime game, I was in zone 5 for 7 minutes.
Jeez.
It's ridiculous.
The Leafs, I mean, the Leafs were all over Ottawa on that overtime up until
crazy
the goal. But
how many guys are keeping that puck in, by the way? Like Sanderson to keep that puck in was incredible. He is such a stud.
Yeah. Well,
crazy. He also saved a sure goal last night. Bobby McMahon backdoor on a power play.
There was a lot.
Zoink.
There's a lot of close calls for Toronto, but all the bounces went Ottawa's way, which is fine because the bounces kind of went Toronto's way earlier in the series. And I had a feeling that it would come back to the equilibrium. And now going forward, all things are equal. Let's head into game 6. But
I just kept saying, like, look, if you get swept, it's embarrassing. You lose in 5, it's tough to handle. But if you're a Senators fan at this point, it's like, you got to be proud with the way the team's battled back.
Leafs in 6 was my that was my guess at the start of the series. Leafs in 6, and it's still very viable, still alive.
But you tell me, would you rather be the Ottawa Senators down 3-2 in a series, having played the way they have in 2 games? Or you'd rather be the LA Kings? That's the other part of the hypothetical.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. I would much rather be the Ottawa. Oh, Yeah, no.
Except LA's going to Edmonton down 3-2 as well. So a little different.
No, I'd rather be the Ottawa Senators at this point. I'd still rather be Ottawa because you're feeling good about yourself. You got all the momentum in the series. Edmonton, I mean, like how they've completely ripped the heart out of the LA Kings, man. Like LA's in trouble, dude.
They got to
like,
snap the harmonicas. They're done.
Toss them in the trash.
They're done.
It's so impressive, isn't it? How easily the Edmonton Oilers just went from crap, we're down 0-2, so close to being down 0-3.
We're going to our backup goalie.
And they go to their backup goaltender, Calvin Pickard.
Winnipeg legend.
He just Toronto Marlies legend, my guy. And, it's not as though he's been, the savior. He's not out here putting up 50 save performances. But it was a good decision. It put a jolt in the team in front of him, and they've been outstanding. And last night was just absolutely kicked their asses. And the score was not indicative, I think, of how badly Edmonton controlled that game. But yeah, that was an impressive way Edmonton was able to completely rip that series back into their grasps, because it looked like they were dead in the water through 2 games. And it didn't seem like they were going to be able to get it done. It was going to be an early exit for McDavid and the boys. But yeah, 3 games later, they were up 3-2. They got the series lead, and they were looking a heck of a lot better. And now you got LA shaking in their boots.
Speaking of ass kickings, the last 2 games in the Winnipeg-St. Louis series were blowout wins for the Blues. It's still 2-2. The game in Winnipeg tonight, I'll be there.
Let me stop you, Ross.
8:30 start. The game starts at 8:30 local time on a weeknight.
8:30 local?
Yeah, because they want the Habs game at 7, and then they want the Jets game to be the late game. The only problem is that Winnipeg's in Central Time, not Pacific.
Oh my God, that is outrageous. Okay. Anyways, you're in Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, you want to see what I'm wearing tonight?
Dad? Is it a dad sweater?
No.
Nice.
How beautiful is that?
Very nice.
And I got a little Sens play on it too. It's a little Big Walt.
Okay.
Big Walt, Keith Tkachuk.
I see it.
I need it because when I moved here, I was like, you gotta have a white Jets jersey for the whiteout, which is one of the coolest things in the NHL. And I was like, how can I Sens this up a little bit? And Keith Tkachuk was the captain of the Winnipeg Jets.
That works. I mean, either Chucky or Solani would have been fine.
I actually have a Solani blue one. I got a little 2-for-1 special.
What's the concern-o-meter like right now in Winnipeg when it comes to Connor Hellebuck, who can't stop a beach ball right now?
I mean, he was good in the first 2 games in Winnipeg. I think that's what a lot of fans are kind of banking on right now. They allowed 3 goals in game 1, but then in game 2, shut the door. Only 1 goal against, and I think this is the biggest game of his career. Forget the 4 Nations final. This is the biggest game of Connor Hellebuck's career. I think he's their guy no matter what. If he lets in 10 tonight, he's playing game 6. Like 100%. You're not going away from. You're going to live and die with Connor Hellebuck, who, by the way, is in the first year of an 8-year contract extension. So
you 100%. You're going with Connor Hellebuck. That's not even a question.
I saw people floating that around. I think that had to be out of anger. Look, if you're the Winnipeg Jets, you're thrilled that Gabe Vilardi's back. I think that helps their power play monumentally. And they need their power play to be just that. It was the number 1 power play in the National Hockey League this season. And a big reason why was Gabe Vilardi in the net front is a complete difference maker. And he hasn't played in this series yet. They're also without Nikolai Ehlers, who practiced non-contact jersey, so he's not ready yet. But I think that's an underrated part of this narrative about the Jets blowing the 2 games in St. Louis. When you're missing 2 top 6 forwards and you already have one of your top 6 players is Vlad Nemestikov, perfectly fine player, but not a difference maker.
Yeah.
You need at least one of Vilardi or Ehlers to play. You can't just rely on Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele to have 3 points every night.
Yeah.
I'm going to be locked on to Gabe Vilardi tonight. He's got to at least get a point, maybe 2 for Winnipeg to feel good about themselves.
Yeah. A save would be nice too.
A save would be nice.
A save would be nice. Like I saw a stat the other day where it's like Connor Hellebuck, after his first loss of a series, his goal differential in the rest of the games is like minus 38 or something like that.
Well, you want to bring that to a team stat?
Sure.
They have not won a game after losing a game in 5 years.
No,
They got swept in the COVID series by Montreal, 4 straight. Then they win game 1 against Vegas, lose 4 straight. They win game 1 against Colorado. They lose 4 straight. They win the first 2 here and then lose 2 straight.
Yeah.
Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. Like once he loses a game, he loses his confidence. That's what I took from that stat. It's wild. And they're like, like something like dash 33 as a team in that span. It's insane. I don't really quite get it. It's actually like baffling and puzzling how you go from being potentially the best player on the planet, definitely the best goalie on the planet, to being meh, just meh, being awful. Hellebuck sucks right now. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, he's got to have a big one tonight. So, too, does Jakub Dobeš. We expect him to start for the Montreal Canadiens. Samuel Montembeault left in game 3, did not return. I thought Dobeš was perfectly fine for the most part in game 4. Heck, the Habs had a lead going into the third period, but Washington reminded themselves, hey, we won the Eastern Conference for a reason, and they put the pedal down. So how do you expect game 5 to look tonight now that the Caps are back home?
I want Montreal to keep it alive. I do want them to keep it alive.
We deserve another game at the Bell Center.
I think we deserve it. Yeah, I would love to see it happen. I don't know though. Like I look at that, it's a team that's being overmatched right now, and rightfully so. The Washington Capitals are the better team. Logan Thompson's a terrific goaltender. He has been all year long, and Ovi's still performing at the end of the day. So I think the Capitals probably close it out on home ice. Although I'm hoping that Montreal can give us one more game.
Yeah, so do I. And we should say, though, that series probably has the second most hate after the Battle of Florida. At least with Habs fans online complaining about every call.
Well, I mean, that's just par for the course.
But, I mean, if two guys are getting into it in the benches, I mean, we got to show a little
love you're right.
In that
series. Yeah, you're right.
And, I mean, Washington's without – maybe if there was a most improved player award in the NHL, this Protash kid, he's unbelievable. And
he's back now.
He's back?
Yeah. I think he came back.
Did he play game 4?
I thought he played game 4.
I will let you know. He is not. No, hasn't played a game yet this series. But maybe he's back tonight.
Maybe he's back on the ice. Maybe
he definitely was.
Skating. Okay.
Yeah.
May return in game 5. Okay.
They're built for playoffs, the Washington Capitals. They are big, mean, physical, and they were getting a ton of saves from Logan Thompson in game 4 after he left game 3 with an injury as well. I'll be very excited to see what happens in tonight's game. Wouldn't be mad if another team got eliminated. Look, in Ottawa, we were worried. You don't want to be that first team eliminated. Now the Devils are out, and the Montreal Canadiens could follow suit tonight in 5 games. We will see what happens when the puck drops in DC. I'm just excited for another night of playoff hockey. I just love this time of year. Every night, 3 games, 4 games. Could not be more thrilled. So
really
another great show, man. We'll do this again next Wednesday. One way or the other, the Battle of Ontario will be done by then. And we'll be on to round 2 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Cannot wait for that. For more, go check out Locked On Maple Leafs with Mike DiStefano. You can find me at Locked On Ottawa Senators. This has been the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.